You've got to pay attention. Like, what if you're in routine right now, snap the out.
We need to get really, really tuned into the idea that this isn't bad. It makes us stronger. And so I want to prepare you so that you can dig the well before you're thirsty.
What if you could build a business in the modern world as big or as small as you want without having to compromise the things that were the most important to you in the very beginning? This is the Wealthy Consultant Talks Podcast with Taylor Welch and Mike Walker, as they share with you today their learning lessons from stories in their experiences over the past 10 to 15 years and share with you right here, right now. Let's get into it.
What is going on, my friends? Mike Walker here. Welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Consultant Podcast. I've got a good one here for you. I want to dive into economic challenges. Now, it doesn't matter if you've been in the game like me for more than a couple decades or if you're just getting started out. Here's the thing. I promise you, doesn't matter the level of your sophistication, your background, your experience, your industry, your vertical, your market, your message. It doesn't matter. You are going to have to navigate economic uncertainty, economic challenges. That's part of the game. If it was easy, everybody was going to be doing it, right? So here's the thing. We've got to get figured out. We've got to tune our minds around to what it means to navigate financial challenges, economic environments that are hard, right? Because here's an interesting piece. Some of the best, biggest, most influential companies in the world were forged in the fire of economic uncertainty, right? So we need to get really, really tuned into the idea that this isn't bad. It makes us stronger. This isn't happening to us. It's making us better. It's happening for us, right? So here's the thing. We've got to get really, really certain about what our mission is, our philosophy for handling these challenges, and what it means to move through it. You can be a bulldog and just blow through doors and blow through walls, or you can try to sidestep, go under, go over, be, adaptive. But either way, you've got to get to the other side, right? And getting to the other side of financial hardship, of economic challenges is obviously the ways to do that are infinite. There's no way we could cover every single one of them. But instead, what we want to do is not so much focus on the tactics and strategies, because those are going to change by the market. They're going to change by your industry. They're going to change by your resources and allocation of those resources. But there are fundamentals here, and primarily what happens between the ears in how we tune ourselves, how we tune our decision making around and through these navigating circumstances, these times of navigating challenges, right? So here's the thing I want to leave you with, and then we're going to jump into a quick clip. Taylor and I were jamming on this during one of our client calls, and I just kind of want to take a little slice, throw it in here, because it's going to give you a little flavor of not only Taylor's mindset and how he looks at these things, but also just some of the kind of fun banter that we have with clients as they're on the call. It was just a cool clip, and it supported what I'm talking about here, which is the reality that we can't avoid these challenges, but we need to realize that this is actually an opportunity. Because here's the thing, my friends, and I learned this the hard way. For brevity here, I won't go into the full story, but I remember back in 2008 when we officially entered the Great Recession, right? If you weren't around then, or if you weren't running a business, go do some research. If you were around though, and if you were like me, an entrepreneur and running an organization, you know damn well where you were, probably exactly where you were, what the weather was like, what you were wearing, everything, because it was significant in that period of time when everything started crashing around us. It was potently obvious that there was a tremendous amount of quote unquote success, of financial liquidity built on the idea that it was going to kind of go on forever, and or that was covering up a lot of inefficiencies, right? So how do we do that? Well, you can cover up inefficiencies with people, meaning the number of people on your team. You can cover it up through cash flow. When you have just cash flow constantly coming in, it's easy to ignore the fact that there is probably a lot of inefficiencies in your profitability, in your operations, et cetera, because just more comes in. It's like, well, it went away, but we got more coming in, so it doesn't really matter. A lot of business, I know even as I'm saying this right now, you might be like, well, no shit, Mike, like that's pretty basic. Then why does it keep happening? And it's not just to the little mom and pop shops. I'm talking about the biggest of enterprises deal with the exact same thing. Why is that? Well, they have no shortage of resources. They have no shortage of team. They have no shortage of software and tech and IT people and financial people. So why the hell do they keep getting into the same problems? It's the psychology behind it. A software isn't going to do crap for you if your psychology of using it is off. And that is really wherein lies the problem. It's the ethos in which is operating these softwares and operate the organization as a whole, is that they don't understand that, look, we can't just keep covering up inefficiencies with more people, more cash flow, whatever it may be, right? So here's the thing. I want you to embrace, if you're ever, or rather when you are faced with financial uncertainty or economic challenges, environments that make it difficult for you and your business to operate, I want you to embrace that, because that is where you are actually getting better if you let it. It's kind of like going to the gym, right? Like, you don't avoid the weight, you go in, you lean in on the weight, you pull the weight. Why? Because you know that makes you stronger. Avoiding the weight in the gym is just going to keep you weak. It's the same thing in business. You want to identify those environments and those opportunities, those times that hit your business, and you go, wow, this is really tough. What is this going to teach me? And that is really the gold here, guys, because here's the thing. While 95+% of businesses are figuring out how to reduce, hide under a rock, go quiet, and just kind of huddle down and survive, you can proactively go take big swaths of the marketplace because they are being reactive and reclusive, whereas you are being proactive and just start dominating new sections of the market by being brave and by understanding that when they're running, you're going and dominating new places. You're grabbing new pieces of your marketplace. And if you can understand that, wow, when the tide goes out, you see real quick who's been swimming around without shorts on, right? I know it's a funny analogy, it's an old one, but the reality is true. Like, when things get hard, you start realizing, wow, all these quote unquote successful businesses weren't actually successful. They're just riding the train of cash flow. When that cash flow stops, or when it slows down, that liquidity slows, then everything else starts grinding to a halt, and all the cracks in the foundation start to show real quick. All right. So number one, make sure that you identify what those cracks are. As soon as you are faced with economic uncertainty, with economic challenges, economic environments that make it difficult to move your business forward productively and efficiently, start looking at what are those, because this is your opportunity. The water has drained out. This is the opportunity to see where all the cracks are so you can start fixing them right away, while your competition is just like floundering, scared, and running around trying to do new things, buy new things, whatever, to try to fix get them out of the situation. They're just trying to fix it with more things. I want you to actually look at, how do we fix this from the root cause? Fix the cracks in the foundation so that the next time that storm hits, you're watertight. You've already absorbed and kind of figured out where those weak points are in your operations. It makes a big difference. All right. So let's jump in real quick. I just want to share kind of my thoughts on what this looks like as we navigate the economic uncertainties right now in the marketplace. But regardless of whether that's happening right now or you're listening to this years later, it doesn't matter. This is all cyclical. The peaks and the valleys are going to come economically. So it's important that you understand the psychology of how you handle navigating challenges and financial economic difficulties. All right. Excellent, guys. Let's dig into it. Let's jump into a quick clip. I want to share with you kind of Taylor's view and just some fun stuff they were jamming on with other clients on a call. All right. Take care. Jump in right now.
You've got to pay attention. Like, what if you're in routine right now, snap the fuck out. Like, you have to get into, like, you have to pay attention, because right now we have extreme pivots. When you're driving a car 90 miles an hour, the slightest curve can make the vehicle feel completely like it's going off the road. If you're going 10 miles an hour, don't really matter that much. You take a curve and you're fine. We are going full on 90 miles an hour with a giant fucking curve thrown in the middle of it. So whatever I can get you to do to, like, whoa, step back. Like, Taylor's cursing. It's Monday morning. He said the F word. Yeah, on purpose. Like, I need you. Like, let's go. Like, lock in all the way, because we're pivoting. And I don't mean just pivoting like in a micro, like the global economy is pivoting. And so here's the state of the state. Then we're going to get into some training for the mind, because how you handle the mind is how everything else works. We have been talking about this for 2 years, like over and over and over. Like, I'm just kicking a dead horse on the side of the road. And no one, like, I'm just over there by myself kicking it. I'm like, hey, recession. Hey, like things are changing. Change your models, change your systems. And here's why. Liquidity was sucked out of the system, but it didn't work. It just didn't work. There was too much credit. There was too much stimulus money. There was too much shenanigans going on. And we have this giant empire built on stilts. And it just took a long time for the rug to get pulled out. And now the rug's starting to get pulled out. And so what we have you ever, hopefully no one on this call has been shot with the bow and arrow. Like, I was about to be like, have you ever had an arrow sticking out? But like, no, that doesn't work. Imagine you get shot with an arrow and that arrow is like sticking out of your side. It missed the organs. So you're safe and stuff. And you know that at some point you got to pull that shit out.
Yeah.
And then it's going to bleed, and you got to cauterize it, and then you got to wrap it, and you get recovered. You have to go through recovery mirror. That's like, no, I have not been shot with an arrow. Thank you. Nor do I want to.
Yeah, let's not check that one off the list.
We have been, I am part Cherokee Indian. I'm indigenous. So my people were shot with bow and arrows. Thank you. Like there's only one group of people who've been treated worse than black people, and that's the American Indians. So don't talk to me about racism. I'm just kidding. Bijou.
Taylor's going hard on him over here.
Bijou did it again. It's always Bijou. Anyways, so we've had an arrow stuck in the side of the economy for like 18 months. And we cannot take it out without like rapid blood loss and just shit everywhere. And so we've been walking around propped up with this arrow stuck in us. And now the arrow's getting pulled out. It's going to be painful. It hurts. And you have to tie that shit up, cauterize it down, and then let the system heal. And so we're probably going to go through like, I don't know, 6 months of like, it's going to be a little bit scary. And people are going to be like, what's going on? Well, nothing's going on. The body's just healing itself. And so the focus necessary right now is way higher than it's ever been before. It's super paramount to stay locked in, tunnel visioned a little bit. If you want, you can get your news from me. Just follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Ignore everything else, especially ignore Kramer. He don't know shit. Ignore all of the politicians and stay dialed in, because here's what I know and here's what's true from history. And I've studied all of them. Some of the greatest organizations in the history of the world were built during the scariest times.
Yep.
And businesses and organizations that existed but could never really make it, they required danger in the markets for them to fully lift off. And so this is a lift off moment. And so August is the beginning of that. We're going to go August, September, October, November. November is probably going to be a culmination point where it starts maybe calming down a little bit. And then in January, we'll probably lift back out. It's finally starting to happen, the things we talked about for 2 years. So don't freak out. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. But you need to tunnel vision yourself in, like hardcore, and just focus on the things that build your business. Make sense? We good with that? Can we do it?
Let's go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little extra clip. I just wanted to, encourage you, if you are getting information from this, or if you're finding value from these podcasts, like, share, all the good things with the channel. That's all great. But I really, really, really want you to make sure that you are implementing what you are learning. Remember, information is not power. It's only potential power. It actually becomes powerful when we implement it, when we put it into action, when we put it into place in our lives and our business. So as always, you will hear me like a broken record asking you to, make sure that you take action on this information. Do not let it just sit in the backsides of your brain and just collect dust somewhere. I want you to immediately go, great, what did I learn today? What's the one thing I could do today to actually move the needle forward in my business and in my life? All right. That's our ethos here at The Wealthy Consultant. I really want to just encourage you to absorb that and apply it, most importantly, into what you are doing on your side in your unique situation. If you enjoyed this topic in particular, the economy is a broad one, I understand, but if you are an expert business, if you are somebody that has a particular skill set or intellectual property that you are monetizing out in the marketplace very or via like services or products or courses or coaching or whatever it may be, the economy is not just tough on your business, but you are no doubt finding that the economy can have a very real impact on the people you serve. And this is an interesting kind of dynamic, right? Because not only are you trying to navigate the ups and downs of everything that the economy provides, but also you're trying to help your clients do the exact same thing. And this is kind of an interesting environment. So Taylor and I jammed on this exact topic a few months back and called Battling the Economy as an Expert Business. And if you want to join us on that one, feel free. I'll make sure that there's a link around here on this video in this podcast to make sure that you can go straight to that episode, because there's some really good gold in there where we dive even deeper into what it means to face these economic uncertainties. And again, whether it's happening today, I know damn well it's going to be happening in the future at some point. And so I want to prepare you so that you can dig the well before you're thirsty. All right. That's an important one, guys. We'll see you on another episode of the Wealthy Consultant Podcast. Take care. Talk soon. See ya.